Sunseeker Resort is not going anywhere. Greetings, our Frederick Riddle here with another session or episode of Christian news and reviews. And so I'm going to revisit today the idea of Sunseeker Resort. This is a local issue, but it also has national ramifications as well, because people from all over the country, especially those who um, ride Allegiant or fly on Allegiant Airlines, this is something important to them. But it's also a reflection on our economy. I think we're now entering in a very positive aspect of our national economy, primarily because of the election of Donald Trump, but also because of first of all, decisions he's already made are having a positive impact, but also because other forces are at work as well. But I want to read here something. It's an article that actually showed up in Sunday's newspaper, and it goes like this. I'm not going to read it word for word, but I am going to cover the article here. We can almost hear the naysayers who have never embraced Sunseeker Resort. Tuesday's news, which wasn't really news, that Allegiant Travel is seeking a partner, even another entity, to buy the property was a surprise to many. Those who have always preached the eventual failure of the huge resort in Charlotte Harbor probably were saying, "Told you so." Not so fast. We've already been we've always been a supporter of Sunseeker. This is the author of this article, and for many good reasons. And, by the way, this is on Viewpoint, which is usually used for the editor talking about the paper. So it's the paper, the we here is actually not just one person, it's the newspaper. We've always been a supporter of Sunseeker, and for many good reasons, not the least of which is how it put Charlotte County on the map for vacationers. The millions that it has paid in taxes to Charlotte County is just one more good reason to be thankful it's here. The original plan to build a resort that would include condos or vacation homes was ditched in favor of 700 or so luxury rooms. Maybe that was a mistake. Then we come up here. Micah Richens, the president of Sunseeker, in a phone call Wednesday, he said the news Allegiant is looking to sell or find a partner is not news. The last three quarterly calls for investors have broached that idea. Our plan has always been to take it off the balance sheet, Richens said. Now, they never really, that I remember, ever really said that in the past. I'm not disputing it. I'm thinking that it is probably true. I mean, I think he's done a good job, and I think he's been forthtelling all along. But that was probably something that they were just telling their investors and so forth, not for public consumption. But now it's out there in the public area. So he goes on. He says, having a resort losing money does nothing to enhance the attractiveness of stock in Allegiant Airlines. Now, 3 hurricanes have put a hurt on the bottom line for the resort in what is barely more than a year in business. This is a 40-year asset, Richens pointed out. We're like in the first inning of a 9-inning game. It puts it in perspective. The complexities of running a resort of this size are enormous. You can't make quick decisions. It should take 2 to 3 years to really know what you've got and where you want to go. Richens said there were a couple of dozen investors looking at getting involved, either as a buyer or a partner. Of those, 4 to 6 have a serious interest. Sunseeker wants to sell majority interest, at least 51%, in the business to get it off Allegiant's balance sheet. There is no doubt, Richard said, that the property can make good money. Now here's something I kind of highlighted when I read. One good season or two without a hurricane would be a big help. It is true that we've had an unusual situation here where we've been having past 3 years or so we've been having hurricanes. 2022 we had Hurricane Ian, and then in 24 we had Helene and Milton. Um, Hurricane Ian damaged the resort while it was under construction. Helene kind of skipped us, but we still had some impact from it. But Milton did a number on Port Charlotte and Charlotte County to the north, and then to the north of us and to the south of us. But we took a direct hit pretty much, and Sunseeker definitely took a big hit, and so they have recovered primarily a lot from that. There's still some things they're still working on and things of this nature, but it definitely had a major impact on the resort. And yet, they still reported good earnings for the fourth quarter. So that is very good. Moving on here, convention business for 2025 is encouraging, and the first 2 months of the year have been good financially. Though there's options that are available. It says here, the best thing Richardson said is all the options that are still open to Allegiant or any other company that wants to come on board. So they have options available to them to make money. Those options include reverting. Now this is news here. This is something I've never even heard a rumor about. Those options include reverting somewhat to the original idea of condos and vacation rentals. Now, while I haven't heard any rumors about that reverting back, I have heard of people who have said, wish they would done the condos or something of that nature. So it looks like they're thinking about maybe converting some of those expensive rooms. They are expensive. Well, I've seen them. They are absolutely beautiful. So our rooms have a lot of features that would help them convert to condos, he said. And the resort comes with a well-trained staff that can continue to keep things running smoothly. This is the way it ends up here. Anyone predicting the demise of Sunseeker, we believe, would be wrong. It's a bountiful asset for Charlotte County that we should be proud of. I'm going to take a little drink here. All this talking makes my mouth go dry. So, let's get to my opinion here. To me, all this is encouraging news. Sunseekers is large, having 3 towers with plans to get even bigger. They plan on adding 2 more towers. They have had plans of having a marina, and while those plans have been altered somewhat, I think they still plan, at least the rumor is, that they plan on having, still plan on having a marina. It's just that it's my understanding that the county didn't like the idea of having the marina right there at the resort. I'm not privy to all the thinking there. But across the way, still on the harbor there, it looks like Sunseeker has bought some property there where a hotel once was. And that's already been largely cleared off, and I've seen workers there when I go by that area. And so the idea would be to build a marina there, and then they can just bring them up right over the bridge. It's on Sunseekers is on one side of the bridge. This marina property is on the other side of the bridge, so it's practically at the tower or at the Sunseeker Resorts to begin with. So that is a very big positive if they continue to go forward. And if they do bring um, investors in, this would increase the possibility of all these things taking place. While occupancy is up, and I believe I heard it's up in the 50, I think around 59%. I read somewhere, uh, which is higher than it had been, and it's obviously, and I'm not, I'm more of a retail type guy that thinks of 30% as being typical for retail, but low for uh, hotels and things like this. And that's where they were operating. Now I've been told by others who are far more expert than I am that actually 30% is pretty good. I don't know. I'm not going to dispute that or agree with it. It just seems low to me. Uh, I would I like the idea that it's up almost to 60% if the if I'm remembering my information correctly. I would like to see it 60 or 70. That's my thinking. Uh, but we get conventions there, and that always has a big impact on the restaurants and everything else that's located right there at the resort. And they're having a good year. Let's continue here. So while occupancy is up, I would still like to see it go higher, and I think it would be higher if they shifted their marketing a little. Right now, they focus on the resort as a destination, and there is reasons for that. The it appeals. People like to have a destination where they're going to spend their vacation, and I see that. Uh, and a lot of times resorts, or you go to the resort, and there's activities, all sorts of activities that are family oriented. Now, this is where I think that Sunseeker needs to do a little rethinking, because right now, um, anybody who's been there will tell you there's a lot of stuff there for adults, and there's a little bit there for families. They have the largest pool. My understanding, it's the largest pool in Florida, and it's called the Reflection Pool, and it is big, and so that's something that kids are going to love. They can go in there and go swimming and everything, but they really don't have much more beyond that for kids. I hear that they have plans down the future for that, and that's good. And when they get those kind of plans in place, then I think it's going to really be a family destination. But right now, I think they need to rethink their um, strategy a little bit. And this is what I think. I think the resort is situated in just the right location to be viewed as a hub for Southwest Florida. Bear with me on this. It can be a destination, but as a hub, I believe it will be more attractive as a family vacation. From where Sunseekers is located, you can go north to Sarasota, you can go northeast to Arcadia, you can go south to Fort Myers, Naples, Cape Coral, and the Everglades. It is an area rich in attractions that suit family travel. So my concept is this. They come, maybe they get valet parking and have the car parked. It's such a big resort. It's actually a very attractive idea of having valet parking. And so you park there, you stay there in a nice room, comfortable room, restaurants right there and stuff that you can eat and so forth. But then you get okay, one day you're there, maybe 1 or 2 days, you're just focused on being right there. Well, then you say, okay, let's go and explore a little bit. Maybe they have already a plan in mind. Most people do. They plan their vacations ahead. And so let's go here and there. I don't know if you realize it or not, but Sunseekers, which is located in Port Charlotte, it's only a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours away from Tampa, to the north. Um, uh, you can go to Disney World. That's 2.5 hours or something like that. So, and you can go to Miami, which a few hours, but you can go to Miami and back the same day if you really want to. It's really ideally, in my opinion, ideally located as a hub, and that's great for sun seekers and families. When you get the family involved, you are going to and families start thinking of it as a viable place to go to. Then I think it's going to really increase. And by the way, we also have to talk about branding. They mentioned 2 to 3 years, and that's where branding comes in. You start out, and people don't know who you are. Now they may have, because it was a news item, so such a big item, it was in the news. Down here, it was big news, but it may have been news, say, in travel guides and stuff like that, as people watched it being built. And where Hurricane Ian hit it, knocked over a couple of cranes, and did some damage. That would have been news that might have made it to the national scene. And so people have been somewhat aware. But you're trying to build a brand for people to think of this. Now they're trying to get it to be branded as a destination. And long term, that might be a good thing. But right now, I think the hub is a better idea. It's still a destination in a sense. People say, let's go stay at Sunseeker. They have some stuff there we can see. But let's go here and here and here and see this. Like I said, this is an area that is rich for travel, tourist travel. And so that is something I would like to see. And I think I agree with this article. I think the Sunseeker has a promising future. And we are already, underline that, we are already benefiting from its existence. Now, here's another thing. By the way, if you're planning on your vacation and you have a family, I would invite you down here to the Port Charlotte area. I think you'll enjoy it. Yes, we've had our fair share of hurricanes, but that's not really normal. It's only been normal, if you want to call it normal at all, over the past 2 or 3 years. And so, but this is a great place to come, to visit, to travel. It's where my wife and we moved down here. The reason we moved down here was to take care of my mother-in-law, but after she passed away, we stayed. After my wife passed away, I stayed. And I have no reason to leave. It's a great place to live. But for those of you thinking of a vacation, it is a great place to vacation. It's got so many things that you can see and travel to. And the area has recovered largely from Hurricane Ian and from other hurricanes. And so it's still got a lot of promise, a lot of ongoing. Right now, we are not even in the summer yet, and already we have tourists coming down, people coming down here, snowbirds, and they coming down here. And so this is something that is an exciting place to visit. So I'd invite you down here. Now, if you enjoy this channel, I invite you to right down below here to subscribe to my channel, TNR Independent Books. And the reason is, by you doing that, you get this podcast, which is called Christian News and Views. You're watching it right now. I have another podcast called Becoming a Published Author is Fun. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is if you want to write, and maybe you are a do-it-yourself writer, you're going to get some pointers, free pointers from me. Now, I have a business, a course that I put together called Basic Authors Training. And say you don't know how to write. I'm not talking about English that will pass you get you by in an English class. I'm talking about writing stories that you can then later publish and market. You don't know how to do that? I teach it. Now, I go in depth there. And so that's I spend time and I will work with you and stuff like this one on one. So that is a business aspect. If you want to do it, that's something to you can go into. Subscribe to it, or you can pay it up front, whichever way works best for you. But the podcast, becoming a published author is fun, is free. And a lot of stuff that I have in my course, I bring in to that. Not as in depth, obviously, but it is helpful to news and hints and things like this that can help you even now. So I encourage you to watch that podcast. I also think that if you subscribe, you are encouraging me. Not only that, to encourage me, you are encouraging me to do all in my power to create episodes that will inform you, encourage you, and inspire you. Give you the kind of stuff that you can use now, whether it be for writing in the other podcast, or as in this one, you see news from a more Christian, a Christian viewpoint. It doesn't always relate to the Bible, but it relates to the Christian world view. And that is where I come from. And you'll notice I do something different than the local media does, local, regional, and national. You pick up your paper and you will get news and opinion in the same article, and it's not isolated. They don't say in my opinion this or in my opinion that. They just include it in there, and you see it as fact. I don't do that. I give you news, and if I give my opinion, I tell you it's an opinion, and that's the way it used to be done when I was a child, and that's the way it should be done now, but it isn't. They think their opinions are important. They think that we need to have them explain to us what we can see with our own eyes and hear with our own ears. I take it different. I believe I'm talking to an intelligent audience. That's you. And that you can make up your own mind. So that is what I promise you, that when you come here and watch Christian news and views, you're going to get the Christian news, and you're going to get my view separate. And then you can take it and do with it as you please. And it could be beneficial to you in that sense. So that's it for today. I hope you have a great day. And I'll see you in the next episode.